Right, whoever's watching, this is just testing, nothing serious. And if you're curious, it's a 3x Barlow on a QHY planetary camera. No guiding, just pointing at the moon and letting the scope drift and just checking what the seeing's like. There's no fan switched on inside the tube to cool it down, although I'm going to switch that on in a few minutes because I just want to see the difference it makes with a warm tube. See if the view settles down a little bit, gets rid of some of those ripples and thermals. It's a bit blustery here, so I'm not sure if I'm going to go after the Comet later, but I just want to test the setup ready for the moon tour that's coming up. And we will also be using a new camera when the tour starts. I've ordered a new camera, should be arriving Monday morning before I go to work, hopefully. And when it comes, I'll be setting it up Tuesday afternoon, and we'll have a quick tour of the moon Tuesday evening, just to shake out a few of the cobwebs, make sure everything's working. We also have, as you can see, the server running, the Discord server. So if you want to join in, it's available for everybody and you can talk back. So there's no serious views yet, although focusing is pretty stable, even though there's a lot of heat, because we're looking over the top of a roof and that roof is giving off a lot of heat, hence the ripple effect on the view there. I just want to leave this running for a while and see if this settles down, because I've literally just switched it all on and the tube is still cooling down. Let's see if we can get this colour matched up. There we go, that's a little bit better colour match. It was a little bit red before. And somewhere I've got the map. I can bring the map up and show you where we're actually looking on the moon. Although I'm not going to be on for very long, and we have got a slight drift, so we can tweak the camera a little bit. There we go. And you can see it going out of focus. That's because of the thermals, because of the heat that's dissipating, and you'll see it coming into focus occasionally. There you go, you can see all the ridges on there. So let's just have a scroll around and see what we can see. We're heading towards the Terminator, not the guy with the metal skin and the metal subframe. It's the transition between the light side of the moon and the darker side of the moon that's in Earth's shadow. This is where you can normally pick out a lot more details of the craters, get an idea of height and everything. This is all going to be a little bit more detailed when we do the moon tour in a few days' time. Also, we will be using a slightly more powerful Barlow. This is only a 3 power at the minute, but we will be moving over to a 5 times for the day of the tour. Let's see if we can just tweak these colours a little bit. This is a colour camera. As you can see from the histogram there, and we can tweak it a little bit at a time. So what you try to do when you're using these sliders is get all 3 colours to line up across the same piece of histogram, so they're all occupying the same space, which will give you a more natural colour to the view. I'm not sure on audio today because I'm watching a Twitch stream as well in the background. Right, tweak the focus just a little bit. That's not too bad. Not so bad. I'm only using this camera for testing. The new camera comes Monday, so I'll be doing virtually what we're doing this evening on a Monday after work. But hopefully for Tuesday everything will be all set up and ready to go. Try spot white balance. A little bit red. Here we go. And there's the effect of the thermals, bringing it all out to focus. This also tells me the 8 o'clock time area is not a good time because of the position of the moon above the roofs of the houses, causing all this thermal interference. So when I do the actual tour stream, it'll be probably a little bit later than this, weather permitting, of course. Right, I'm going to disrupt the image for a little bit, and I'm going to add a couple of filters, see if it will improve the image somewhat. I'm back shortly. Right, that's the IR cut filter in there, infrared cut filter. So that's reduced the infrared somewhat, and I just need to tweak the focus, I think. That's a little bit better. Give it a little bit of gain. Picking up quite a bit of detail around the edge of that crater. And bring the exposure up a little bit. And let's tweak. That still looks a little bit on the red side. Let's drop the blue down a touch. Bring the blue up, bring the green up. Right, and let's have a little look around, see what we can see. Yes, about as good as we're going to get with the thermals tonight. I'll be using the detailed map that I've got linked to the channel, so we'll be able to identify a lot of these craters by name. Not every single one has a name, but a lot of them have names named after famous people through history, and probably a lot of them to do with space and lunar exploration. And we're currently on 20 frames per second. That's one of the downfalls of this particular camera. It's not what you'd call fast. To get a higher frame rate, we need to just drop it from that size to that size, rebalance everything again, and we will get a lot better frame rate. And the focus should be somewhat better as well. So if we turn that up, drop this down, we're on 43 frames per second now, although the image is a lot smaller. Bear in mind this is a USB 2 camera, not a USB 3 camera. Yeah, we're fighting thermals. With it being a warm day and the position of the moon is above one of the neighbours' houses, We're catching all the thermals radiating from the roof. Right, at least we do know we can get a decent picture with the older camera, and I'm going to review this stream and compare it to the new camera when it arrives, see what the quality difference is like. Hopefully a lot. Just scan to the edge. Should be just coming up, there we go. And you can see the effect the thermals are having across the horizon of the moon. And you see the difficulty we're having trying to get a solid focus. Drifts in and out all the time. You can get an idea of how far or how tight a zoom we've got by the radius. That is a relatively flat curve, for want of a better description. So the radius isn't very tight. So it shows you how close we're zoomed into the surface. I think the difficulty we're going to have when we do the live stream is going to be the focus. Depending on what the weather's been during the day. I'm going to be forever tweaking this focus, just trying to get that extra sharpness. I know I didn't switch on the main fan on the tube. Be right back, I'm just going to switch that on and try that. Right, that's the fan at the bottom running, so this should, in theory, clear up a little bit. Right, let's keep scanning along the edge and then we'll move back to the middle. And we're still running at about 43-44 frames per second. Right, I think I'll leave it at that, and then switch over to the other camera. Might go and have a look for that comet. See if we can still find it. Ah, there you go, that's better focus. Yeah, I do hope the new camera's going to be slightly better than this. And also I hope the conditions are going to be slightly better. So fingers crossed for a cooler day tomorrow, and of the day of the stream. But having a look around the surface, we can pick up quite a bit of detail. So with the more powerful Barlow, we should get slightly tighter views. And of course these frames can be stacked to make a lot more detailed image. And there we go, crossing the Terminator onto the dark side. I'll swing back, speed it up a little bit. There we go. You see the wobble on the scope when it comes to a halt. Just tame this down a little bit. And there we go. You can see the focus still drifting in and out. That's down to the thermals coming off the roof from over there. Let's just go to a slightly wider view. Quality will drop a little bit. I'll need to tweak the colour again. There you go, slightly better. I think the fan on the back of the tube is having a decent impact and calming things down a little bit. Of course, there's quite a bit of detail being picked up now, whereas before we were struggling a little bit, and I've not touched the focus for a while, so it's quite nice. leave it on that view for a bit. I think if the other camera doesn't arrive, we should be okay with this one. Oh, and if you were wondering what we're looking at, this main crater down here, just bring it back into centre view, is Copernicus, or Copernicus. Here we go, that one's Copernicus. So those are coming on the moon tour. Centralise it for you. This will be one of the sites we'll be visiting. And the view will be slightly different because we'll have a slightly more powerful Barlow on there. Just wait for it to settle down a little bit. In fact, what I'll do, I'll just tweak the focus and I'll get a capture on that one. Right, let me just set this up. (1,900 frames), that'll do. We'll have it in AVI format. And we'll just hit record. I'm just going to grab us 1,000 frames and I'll make this into a still and we'll use it for the start of the stream for when we do the moon tour. So wait for the record light to go off. We're recording the frames down here, 20 frames per second, so they won't exactly be sharp. So all we need to get out of these is about 20 or 30 frames to stack to make a pretty picture. What I'll do, I'll stop it at about 1,000. There we go. Bring it more central and try it again. There we go. That was just drifting a bit too close to the edge. And that is capturing at 20 frames per second. and we're going to try and capture 1900 frames. Looking outside, the wind's just about dropped, just a little bit of movement. So if these are the sort of conditions we can expect on the moon tour, it should be a pretty nice evening. I'm expecting the moon tour to last about an hour and a half. All depends what people want to see. There we go, at 1000 frames. One 1300. So in theory we should have a reasonable image for the start of the stream. Right, that's done that one. Just do one more for good luck. Can't have enough good frames. Perhaps this one won't realise as many good ones as I hoped, because there's a lot more thermals at the minute. Yeah, that's close enough. Right, well, if you dropped in to have a look, just testing, and hopefully the next time we go live on the moon we'll be doing a test run of the tour with questions and targets. So thanks very much for dropping in, and looking forward to seeing you next time. Cheers, thanks, bye.